In the last video where we talked about vCard, I said that vCard is a micro format that allows you to embed semantics about a person, allows you to embed metadata about a person into a document on the web. And I mentioned briefly that there's a different format that allows information about a person to be downloaded and imported into an application that manages your contacts, and that is called vCard. So let's take a quick look at vCards now. This is the website for my home institution, the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. And if I do a search for, say, myself, then what I get back is the directory entry with all of the information that the university has that's publicly available anyway about me, including my URL, my title, the department I work for, etc. And then down at the bottom here we have download vCard. So if I click on that little icon, what happens is it downloads a file, and it is called vcard.vcf. VCF, I suppose, stands for vCard file. Then if I open that file up, it automatically wants to import it into the application that I'm using to manage contacts, which in this case is just the built-in contacts application on my computer. Am I sure? Yes. Add, and there it is. Now, that VCF file that downloaded, you never actually see that. It's automatically imported into the contacts application. You never see what the contents of that application is. So I've copy and pasted the contents of that file into this slide so that we can see what it is. And what you see is that it's actually fairly simple stuff. You get, name, ADR is address. It indicates that this is a work address, telephone, work, email, title, organization, URL. All of those tags, those short codes to indicate what the fields are, and then the contacts application is written in such a way that it understands those codes and knows what to do with them when it imports that VCF file. There's also an XML representation of vCards, which is called, cleverly enough, xCard, though I actually see that quite a bit less often. And this is the same data represented in xCard as what we just looked at. So you get the declaration that we've seen before that this is an XML document. You get the vCards wrapper element, and then you get text and my name. Then you get the N tag that indicates name, and you have surname and given name, ADR for address, and then the parameters of address first are that this is a work address, then street, locality, region, etc., and end of address. So again, you get a set of tags in XML to indicate all of the pieces of information about a person that you might see in any vCard. It's the same content in a different wrapper. hCard, vCard, xCard, it's all the same data about a person presented differently using different formats to present the same data. And presented one way, you can embed that in a web document. Presented another way, and you get to import a file into an application to manage your contacts. Both of these, vCard versus xCard versus hCard, all of these are different forms of interoperability. The University of North Carolina, for example, where this contact data came from, and Apple, who designed the contact application, the contact manager, never need to communicate directly. Both are using a pre-existing standard. So you can export the directory data about me from UNC and import it into an application designed by Apple. You can export data from any web service and import it into any application as long as both are using the same standard for formatting person-related data. That is, of course, the benefit of standards, that organizations that are using the same standard just agree to use a standard, and then there doesn't need to be communication among the millions of organizations that are all using that standard. What does this have to do with metadata? What this has to do with metadata is that where the metadata record lives is important. On the one hand, you can download a metadata record and import it into your contacts application. On the other hand, the metadata record might live online in a web application where you can search for it if, and this is important going forward in this unit, if you have a search tool that knows where to look for it and what to do with that metadata once it finds it.